All right, y'all. All right, y'all. Sorry about that. We are back. We are back, in fact. And I hope we're back. I hope we're live. Let's see. Let me do a little double check. Make sure we're nice and good. How are the levels? Everything's sounding all right? Yeah, sounding good. Okay. Yeah, I think we are. I think everything is good. I think everything is nice and dandy. Yep. Nice. Okay. Okay. Yeah, we're good. We're good. It's happening. Let's find the real reasons. The real reasons everything is happening. Oh, let me make sure that. Yeah, I guess it's good. Yeah.
Among many things that it's made me think, it's really highlighted how retarded every single person in the American government these days.
That's a big statement, man. Big statement.
Because when Joe Kent speaks, regardless of whether you love him or hate him or trust him or don't trust him or anything, the only thing that I can think about is great to pass off responsibility and to talk about how like it is Israel's fault and all this shit. We're occupied, all this.
Sorry
and it's
about
like,
that,
yeah,
everyone.
that is all true. But this
What
is
did he say?
and to talk about how like it is as a representation of our voter base's failures. Because it's great to pass off responsibility and to talk about how like it is Israel's fault and all this shit. We're occupied, all this. And it's like, yeah, that is all true. But this is our culture, and this is our country, and this is our representative democracy, however unrepresentative it is. And we are the reason why this stands. If we were all the fucking patriots from 1700s that founded this goddamn thing, this would never stand, not even for 5 fucking seconds. They would never elect an Israel first traitor. They would never put up with Lindsey fucking Graham. They would never allow this dichotomous bullshit made up story of lefts versus rights and reds versus blues to overtake the minds of the populace and to subvert the very democracy that they fought to found. Our nation is a expression of our collective intellectual capacity.
So we're always doing breaking news over here, and this is absolutely wild. Iran-linked hackers breach FBI director's personal email, publish photos and documents. Kash Patel, current director of the FBI, hacked. How wild is that? The hacker group Handala Hack Team said Patel will now find his name among the list of successfully hacked victims. Hackers published a series of personal photographs of Patel sniffing and smoking cigars, riding in an antique convertible, and making a face while taking a picture of himself in the mirror with a large bottle of rum. Ooh, that rum stuff. That one hits hard. FBI confirmed Patel's emails had been targeted in a statement. Bureau spokesman Bennett Williamson said, "We have taken all necessary steps to mitigate potential risks associated with this activity, and that the data involved was historical in nature and involves no government information." No government information. All right, Mr. Kash Patel. Hendala, which presents itself as a group of pro-Palestinian vigilante hackers, is considered by Western researchers to be one of several personas used by Iranian government cyber intelligence units. Hendala recently claimed the hack of Michigan-based medical devices and services provider Stryker on March 11th, saying they had deleted a massive trove of company data. Oh, what a disaster, man. What a disaster. The hackers published a sample of more than 300 emails with photos of Patel in them. Okay. It's a mix of personal and work correspondence dating between 2010 and 2019. Oh, they got those date back scrapers. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Make them feel vulnerable. Iran-linked hackers who initially kept a low profile after the United States and Israel launched coordinated strikes against the Islamic Republic last month have increasingly boasted their cyber operations as the conflict drags on. Iranians, he said, are firing whatever they have. Oh my gosh. Last year, another group operating under the pseudonym Robert told Reuters it was considering disclosing 100 gigabytes of data stolen from White House Chief of Staff Susie Wiles and other figures close to U.S. President Donald Trump. 100 gigabytes? How many terabytes is that? 100 gigabytes to terabytes. 100 gigabytes is 0.1 terabytes. Oh, got it. But is it photos of data? Yeah, so data is smaller, but once you start getting into video, those gigabytes get eaten up quick. Just got to get that breaking news out there, guys.
And unfortunately, our collective intellectual capacity is brain rotten to fuck. Right? And most Americans, so have you seen the spring break video that's going viral right now, where bro goes around and interviews all the spring break kids that are out in Florida, and it's just like, oh my God, kill me now. I mean, obviously probably some selective editing, probably just to, you know, make good content, make it funny. But this phenomenon of just partying every weekend and watching sports and fucking like getting drunk and just like hook up.
This is the video he is referring to. What's my frame like? Decent. Let's nicen it.
Facing America is the most important to you. What?
Dumbest spring breakers. Who the f is Ayatollah? What bikini?
Bikini I'm gonna wear next. Obesity is terrible.
Ice. Not personally. I'm legal.
Getting a tan on the beach. That's the most important thing in my life right now.
I'm thinking about Starbucks, to be honest. I'm thinking about Starbucks, what I'm gonna get for today.
The elevators don't work. You got 43 floors. The elevators don't work.
I could take this little glass of water, drop it in the magnets. That's the end of the elevator.
What have you heard that Donald Trump has been doing recently?
Gulf of America. That's the last thing I kept up with.
We're going.
When was this actually shot? Let's see. When was Gulf of America announced? January 20th, 2025. Hold on. On is spring break. January, February, mid-April. So actually this excuse me. This, am I muted? I hope I'm not muted. Check. Okay. So this could be a year-old video. We don't actually know, but
Into war with Iraq. That's been crazy.
What are you doing, Clem?
okay, that's kind of new.
I mean, you got Maduro out.
You must be happy.
Talks about Maduro. Okay, this is actually new.
I'm very happy.
The Ayatollah's dead.
I'm so. What? Who? What? What is that?
Who the is Ayatollah?
I've never heard that word in my life.
Lewis, what's Ayatollah?
I haven't heard.
I haven't heard. I don't know. All right.
Found out about Chuck Norris yesterday. That was more devastating to me.
He was the supreme leader
Yeah, Chuck Norris was a great man. You got to give some respect to that.
of Iran. He's dead.
Oh,
We killed him.
You did? You killed him?
What issue facing America is the most important to you?
What bikini I'm gonna wear next?
Yeah, but I guess some people are just not into like this type of stuff at that age, I would say, you know. So I don't know. It's tough.
Culture and like retard rap and just like
I gotta agree with that. Retard rap, like that's complete brain rot and misguidance and not really good. Oh, and my frame's probably horrible. Sorry, y'all.
just do drugs and die.
Not good.
It is. We have been fully subverted. We have allowed ourselves to be subverted. Our education system has been subverted. Our media systems have been subverted. Our political systems have been subverted. And it's been allowed by us because we've been being subverted into being less and less and less fucking intelligent. And I think the core problem is that in popular mainstream culture in America, it's not cool to be intelligent. It's cool to be a fucking retard that does drugs, gets money, fucks bitches, commits crimes, and is a worthless piece of shit. And obviously, there's a whole discussion to have about who has been pushing that and who is responsible for that narrative.
Yeah. Do you guys know who's responsible for that? I'm just curious.
It's not cool. No, it's not cool. You're going to fucking die alone in a prison somewhere. You goddamn retard children. Wake up. Especially men. Especially men. Get your shit together, men. Not cool. And not cool like, don't do that. Not cool like, no, you're not cool. Like, it's not cool to be what America currently thinks is cool. It's weak. It's spineless. It's uninformed. It's not masculine. You're just retarded. You are retarded. And watching Joe Kent come out and just be Joe Kent really highlighted how emasculated and unintelligent and just sad, pathetic the representatives of America have become. Because ultimately, like, Joe Kent was like, bro is sort of like the exact opposite of all of these soy boy fucking shitbags that have sold our country out in the government. At least it would seem that way. Dude served 11 tours of duty as like a special forces operator. Highly intelligent and cogent when you hear him talk, but then
Goat OC8DE, thank you for joining in on the chat. MAGA, yeah, buddy. Yeah. Is Trump going to be able to be president again in 2028?
Also, Sean Ryan hands him a gun, and you immediately are reminded, like, oh, this motherfucker has killed some bitch. Like, this dude knows exactly what he's doing. This dude has been fighting the most hardened terrorist groups on the planet for like 30 years or something. I do have a little bit of, I have some trust issues with the agency involvement in his past. But, like, he seems pretty genuine at this point. He does seem a little more patriotic than I would be. But I understand that he's smart enough to understand that he is in a chess game right now and that he is on the board and that he needs to make moves intentionally and carefully. And goddamn right he does. Again, with the not being retarded thing. Again, with not being a fucking dumbass. And I wish...
Go. Did you know that Trump... Let's see. He shifted to the Republican Party around 2012, citing changing views and evolving political priorities. His transition was driven by a shift toward more conservative positions, culminating in his 2015 presidential announcement. You probably knew that for sure, but that's fascinating, man. Fascinating.
I should really try to swear less, because that is a part of this culture. Is like we can have more intellectual conversations about
Absolutely.
what's going on here.
For sure.
Just a little fired up about the degradation of America.
And that's okay.
Because on the one hand, it's easy to be like, oh my gosh, Joe Kent still believes in Trump. No, like Joe Kent, like blah, 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 blah. It's like, nah, dude. Be intelligent and think it through. He is in a very specific position where we are going to war with Iran right now, like tomorrow, almost certainly. And he is in this extremely unique position where he might actually be able to do something about it. He actually has the expertise, the knowledge, the insider knowledge, the connections, the prominent government position, and the media coverage to currently get the message out and to get everyone in America to hear that A, Israel pressured us into this, B, there was no plan, the intelligence was bogus.
Is there truth behind that? Was the United States actually pressured into this situation?
And a lot of Americans are going to die if we don't course correct right now, and we need to get out of it. That is an extremely powerful message to get out to everybody right now. And it needs to get out to everybody right now. And by right now, I mean 3 months ago. Because American troops are currently getting briefed. They are currently on the boats. They are currently loading their guns, lacing their boots, packing their bags. It is very likely that it is happening tomorrow or tonight. Maybe even right now, because the market is officially closed. And the only thing that we are waiting on to launch this fucking thing is the market closed. Because Trump, if he's anything, if he's shown us that he is anything, he is a consummate fucking grifter on the American people. We'll talk about the insider trading shit in a bit here. And basically every analyst, every expert is more or less of the same perspective, opinion, that it is extremely likely that boots on the ground invasion is happening this weekend.
All right. So he said Trump is a consummate grifter. And what exactly does that mean? It's used to describe Donald Trump as a highly skilled or complete con artist who operates purely out of self-interest, malignant narcissist sociopath. The assertion that he cares only about himself and uses his platform for personal gain. Exploitation of supporters, financial motivation. Now, I can't necessarily say I agree, but I also can't say I disagree. About 10,000 boots on the ground. Smurf Dabs, thank you for joining in on the chat. What? 10,000 boots on the ground? Are we talking Iran right now? My goodness. May the Lord be with them. Oh my goodness.
As we speak. And once that happens, there is not really a way out of this. And there is no path to victory at all. Let me just grab all these tabs and get them ready. So we've got them.
Deborah Brower, 3864.
And then we'll get into this.
He takes bribes from other countries. He scammed his followers out of billions. Oh my goodness. Do you have actual video of that happening, Deborah? Yo, Vessel RX1. How you doing, brother? Welcome to the chat. If you want to see some awesome FPV content, go check out Vessel RX1.
Report. Into the kill box. So, we are deploying. Let me see if I can blow this up for you a little bit. We'll keep it like that. It looks cool. The U.S. is deploying about 10,000. It was 5,000 initially, and then there's been
Smurf
reports
dabs.
that 10,000 more have been
Right
sent.
on.
Anywhere
job,
between
brother.
10 and 15,000 troops are either on their way or already there. There are multiple MEUs.
Oh, Deborah, are you talking about the Trump coin? I heard that was a pretty bad one. Pretty bad one. And I also heard that they just used his name. He wasn't actually completely involved within that, but I could be wrong and they could be wrong. Yeah, you never know. But how much money did he lose, right?
Multiple aircraft carriers. There's a nuclear submarine over there. The 82nd Airborne is over there. And we'll watch a couple of expert takes on the staging and what these specific units indicate. Valhalla has done some great reporting or just commentating on what is indicated by the force selection. As in, if you're going to deploy those troops, those units, they're trained to do this type of thing. And it looks like it's probably to hit Karg Island is the thing that they are trained and ready and prepared to do. We'll get to that in a minute. It's possible they'll go for the Strait of Hormuz. So, drop site news, Middle East Eye, a whole bunch of reporting. Everyone's kind of speculating that it's probably going to be Karg Island. Fucking Lindsey Graham. Iran's already been fortifying Karg Island. We already bombed Karg Island once. If you're not familiar, Karg Island is this tiny little island up here, kind of in like the northern Gulf, where Iran's oil all pipelines out and then flows out through. I actually have pipeline layers. Hold on, I'm too zoomed in. I wonder if they're baked into this layer. Yeah, so Iran's pipelines all come out to Karg, where then they load ships
Oh my goodness.
and ship it out of the Gulf. A summary of the units and troops that are ready for deployment that are already over there. The USS Boxer with the 11th Marine Expeditionary Unit, about 2,500 Marines. Amphibious assault and fast response. The USS Tripoli, amphibious assault. The USS New Orleans, amphibious dock landing. The 82nd Airborne Brigade, rapid deployment and airfield seizure. This is these are some of the units that Nate was talking about. Some of these units that Nate specifically actually helped train and trained with
They're hiding uranium. Oh my gosh, what? This is wild. Teddy Trey 4825, thank you for joining in on the chat. They're going underground, the place where Iran keeps the uranium that they got from Hillary Clinton when she sold it to Russia. She stole some and gave it to Iran. It's 10 miles deep, so people, oh my gosh, what would she give that to Iran for? Uranium used for nuclear?
For high altitude, high opening jumps, where you essentially parachute target a landing zone and secure things like airfields as first invasion forces. Then there's the USS Abraham Lincoln.
And to get the uranium, you can't bomb something 10 miles deep. You have to send troops in. What are they going to do? Just go start digging? Boots on the ground, shovels in hand?
The USS Gerald R. Ford, the USS Georgia, and a bunch of special operators we're hearing are now being deployed as well. We're not entirely fucking clear on what the story is with, I think it's the Lincoln, the aircraft carrier that had a laundry fire. Was it the Lincoln? Which aircraft carrier was it? Right, it was the Lincoln. No, it was the Gerald R. Ford. It had a fire in the fucking laundry bay. So, right. So, depending on who you want to believe, according to the U.S. fucking Navy and the U.S. government, we've got these multi-billion-dollar aircraft carriers, the crown jewels of our Navy. And they're over there getting ready for World War III, you know, literally the thing that they were built for, the thing they've trained for and prepared for and waited for. And then they, like, Mrs. Doubtfire's doing the laundry, and, like, they have a fire in their laundry room on this multi-billion-dollar steel fucking boat. And then the fire in their laundry room spreads to take over, like, an eighth of the boat, burns the whole fucking boat down. It's a whole disaster. And then it's so damaged that they have to retreat back to port, and it's going to be out of commission for multiple years while they fix it. But it was just a fire in the laundry room, folks. No rockets or torpedoes or missiles or drones struck it, obviously, because no one can strike the U.S.'s Navy or aircrafts, obviously. So if you want to believe the U.S. government, that's the story. That's what happened.
President Trump gave Iran 48 hours to comply with his demands to open the Strait of Hormuz, or holy hell was going to be unleashed. Well, but then that got pushed back. No, actually, it's 5 days.
Calm down,
5
Lieutenant.
days, and then
Lieutenant,
it's going to be holy hell.
Lieutenant, respectfully,
you know
Lieutenant,
what? No,
Colonel, I'm speaking. Thank you, Colonel. Colonel Davison here just getting fucking ahead of schedule. Calm down, bro. We're going to get to you in just a second. I don't know what's going on there. So no, obviously it wasn't a fucking laundry fire. Obviously, Iran said that they hit it. They probably hit it. Just like we were told that the fighter jets are just randomly crashing, you know, the multi-billion-dollar fighter jets that are the state of the art. They're like basically alien technology that the U.S. government.
Teddy Trey 4825. That is incredible. How accurate is that? Is that actually accurate, or is it hearsay? I will read it out for you if you're not watching and you're just listening. Hillary Clinton planned on being president. She was going to allow Iran to bomb U.S. and blame it on Russia because the uranium signature would be the same as what she sold to Russia in the Uranium One deal. They got radar that will penetrate 10 miles so they know where to get in, but the bombs won't get in there without messing up the continental shelf. Interesting. Do you have any, can you send me a link, anything validating this, please?
It has. They're
Thank you so much for the comment.
how we are so much better than everyone else, but they're just falling out of the fucking sky. They're just like randomly crashing into each other. It's crazy. They're just all malfunctioning. Like, who would have thought? You go to war with Iran and then all of a sudden all your shit starts malfunctioning. Obviously not because it's getting hit. Until footage came out that actually showed one of them getting hit, and then the story had to change.
And thank you for the chat, by the way. And we're going live every day of 2026, so make sure y'all like, subscribe, and turn on notifications if you haven't already. And let me just give you a quick little update on what uranium is actually used for. So there's a few benefits. So first, there's civilian beneficial uses, you know, like nuclear energy, medical isotopes to like treat cancer or for imaging, and then like for scientific research. Obviously there's the military use for uranium, nuclear weapons, I am not finding now that Hillary Clinton did give uranium to Iran, but you know, it could be like one of those secret things where it's not public information. But she did have the Uranium One deal. Russian company gained partial control of a company called Uranium One. That company had uranium mining assets in the U.S. So they're Russian company mining uranium in the United States. So there's a few things like that. That deal was approved by a multi-agency committee, not just Hillary. And uranium cannot legally be exported freely from U.S. mines. Thank the Lord. But is that true? And no evidence of illegal transfer of uranium to enemies. No proof Clinton personally orchestrated wrongdoing. But who knows? Who knows?
Turns out multi-billion-dollar stealth project to design a fighter jet that's invisible to all radar systems. Turns out that it was outsmarted by some basic thermal vision. It was like, oh, well, fuck. We can't see it on the radars, but it's pretty hot. That jet is pretty hot. We could just heat track it. And apparently, the multi-billion-dollar fucking development plan that the U.S. put into building this state-of-the-art aircraft that was unhittable didn't consider the fact that heat vision exists. So they've been hitting our fucking planes, too. So they're hitting the aircraft carriers. They're hitting the planes. We already went over in the last video about a week ago, maybe longer now, with Richard Medhurst, a careful examination of how they have obliterated the U.S. military base presence in the region. All of the U.S. bases in the Gulf have basically been destroyed. They're basically all gone. Bases in Qatar, Bahrain, all up in the UAE, Saudi Arabia. You know, actually, check this out. Check this out. This is not a 100% accurate overlay here, but this is this map is built from a database of reports of strikes on U.S. infrastructure and bases. So it's based on actual reporting about actual strikes that definitely did happen. So it's not exhaustive, and it's not necessarily accurate where the strikes were launched from in Iran. You know, most of these that are being, you know, sourced to Tehran, they're probably coming from some random mountain range in the middle of fucking nowhere. Who knows? But it's representative of all the different U.S. base infrastructure along the Gulf Shield that has been hit and obliterated, as well as infrastructure in Iraq, as well as...
Check. Yo, Wesley P766. Are you talking about me, Teddy Trey, or the man below the screen? So for the guy below my screen, he has this app called Webb, W-E-B-B, where I think he scrapes everything off the internet and gets information that is known to be accurate, right? But Yeah.
As all throughout Israel. And then obviously the false flag in Turkey that was not actually fired by Iran, but I haven't had time to update the data set to reflect that.
Please let me know what you're talking about, Wesley P. Thanks, buddy.
Because it's just operating on the mainstream news reporting.
Okay. Oh.
So this will be our little... oh, yeah, and then also the fucking strike on Diego Garcia that was an Israeli false flag, probably. One's also
let me try to
still
find
on.
that for you.
So we'll leave that up as a little visualization. Just to remind you that, like, this is inconceivable for Americans. I don't think most Americans realize that the bases are all destroyed. The planes are getting hit. The boats are getting hit. The bases are all destroyed. Even if we won the war tomorrow, even if tomorrow a crazy disease swept through Iran and turned them all into liberals that wanted Starbucks, and they overthrew their government, laid down their arms, and became Japan, although Japan's not super liberal anymore, even then, we would be looking at, 10 to 15 years of just rebuilding our fucking bases. We'd be looking at tens, hundreds of billions of dollars of rebuilding costs, of rebuilding all these radar systems that they blew up. Because we didn't even talk about the radar systems again yet. That is this subtle undercurrent to the reporting that is not coming through in the mainstream reporting, in the government's reporting, in Trump's speeches, in the way that the Secretary of War is fucking talking about this. Like, bitch, what? It's like you're playing chess and all your pawns are already gone. The whole wall that's supposed to fucking help hold the board, already gone. All blown up. And then, like, your bishops are getting hit. One of your knights is down. One of your fucking castles is hit. And you're, like, going in there with, like, your queen and a rook. And you're talking this big-ass game as though we can't all see the board. And be like, bro, the bases are all destroyed.
I think that's one of the tools he's using.
Like, what are we doing? What are we fucking doing? And what we are doing is we're doing Israel's bidding. Because obviously, when you look at the map, you realize that Israel cannot retreat. Israel is absolutely fucked. Because all of the early radar detection, all gone. It's been gone for weeks. And we'll look at some destruction footage, although not too much because they'll demonetize this shit real good. Israel's getting absolutely flattened. Israel's getting turned into Gaza. And their fight in the north with Lebanon, where they're trying to fucking take some Lebensraum, where they're trying to do a little more Zionist project expansion, once again, stretching the IDF extremely thin. We'll talk about that report in a little bit. It's not going so well either. Hezbollah is coming back stronger than ever. There's a report just out yesterday, I think, that over 100 Israeli Merkava tanks have been destroyed by Hezbollah. Because ultimately, what is actually happening on the ground? A bunch of rich, entitled, settler, pussy-ass bitches, a bunch of Jews from, like, the Bronx, fucking Philly, all over the world, moved to the...
So I put a link to that map on my YouTube community page, and you can check it out there if you want for yourself. It's just basically liveuamap.com. And that's one of the tools.
Land that God promised them with their soft little hands. And then they fucking pick up a gun and go shoot a bunch of kids in Gaza and think they're hot shots. They bomb the shit out of civilian captive populations for 3 years and think they're fucking cool. And then they go and start a fight with an actual hardened military force with technological, like advanced technological weaponry. And they are losing dramatically.
I think he also gets some of his intelligence from Telegram war channels, X, Twitter, obviously that's a strong one, and independent journalists. But to honestly understand where the truth is, that's like part of this channel is we're trying to find the truth, cleave into the truth. And yeah, you never know. You absolutely don't know. But I think that's like the great reason we're building this community over here, to try to figure out what the actual truth is and to find interesting things and how to make our lives better.
Both against Hezbollah in the north and against Iran.
And also from leaks that are sometimes unverified. I think there's like a interpretation layer as well. He like connects the dots. He builds a narrative and then presents it confidently. How accurate it is, that's one thing. I'm not saying he's not accurate. I'm saying he's extremely accurate. I'm just experiencing it, I think, with all of us and trying to figure it out.
And from the air. And like, yeah, the Jewish money pit is very deep. The money will probably keep flowing, but money can only do so much. You can't build. There's no more defensive weaponry to build. There's no more interceptor missiles coming. There is no more. I mean, hell, there's no more.
Oh, Teddy Trey dropping something heavy. I haven't heard this before, dude. This is wild if this is true. Where'd it go? Teddy Trey 4825. Yes, Ian Carroll's research is very good, but his opinion is paid for. Sorry. PAID. Okay. That's brand new to me. Would love to know more about it, honestly. Not offending you by any means, but that's the first time I heard that, and I'm excited, actually. I like hearing new things, so that's cool.
Or offensive missiles coming, and we're running out of those too. That's why our planes are starting to get hit, because we ran out of all the long range offensive missiles, and so our planes have had to fly closer and closer and closer to contested airspace. And
oh my goodness, Brian Adams N2Z. MAGA means Star of David in Jewish interpretations. You're getting played by the devil.
Starting to get shot down,
bro. I gotta look that up.
And Israel's doing a great job of like moving into southern Lebanon and like taking territory, because they're just bombing the fuck out of cities, civilians, refugee camps. They're doing their normal thing. And then they're rolling in there with all their fucking tanks. But then when they're actually fighting Hezbollah, Hezbollah is fucking them up, dude. And that's the thing about a settler colonial state, is that, yeah, the first generation of settler colonial Jews were pretty hard motherfuckers. They fucking fought hard and dirty. And they took the land from its rightful owners. And for a long time, they had a very good thing going. They had a lot of power, a lot of political cachet, a lot of gangsters on their team, a lot of blackmail that they built up, all sorts of, levers to manipulate the world and the stage with. But ultimately,
Dog-faced Pony Soldier 5341. Lots of propaganda in wars. I wouldn't believe anything from the IRGC. Can't disagree with you, man. Cannot disagree with you. If anyone disagrees with you, I don't know.
When you tell a whole bunch of people, let alone a whole bunch of Jews, that the world belongs to them and it's their oyster, and that God promised it all to them, and it's their divine right to take it, and here, go shoot these unarmed civilians just to prove it to you. When that's your behavior system over a long period of time, eventually you're going to be the soft ass bitch without callus on your hands, and eventually the people that you're fighting against, yeah, they're gonna, you're fucked. Okay. So it's not looking good. And it's not like it's not looking good like we're not going to win quickly. It's not looking like Ukraine bad, where it's like, oh, after what, like 10 fucking years of attrition, we're going to let our proxy Ukraine kind of get rolled over by Russia. That's not what's happening here. Russia doesn't want to destroy the Ukrainian project. I mean, exactly. They just want to take their fucking land back and get NATO to go the fuck away and to be secure and to stop having the CIA terrorize their borders. That is different than Iran and Israel. Okay? So, Iran correctly assesses that Israel is a foreign interloper that came and stole the land and then raped the population and has been committing terrorism all across the Middle East ever since. And Iran wants to wipe Israel off the map completely. They're also producing really funny fucking Lego trolling propaganda videos about the Epstein empire that we'll watch later. So, to Israel, this is absolutely an existential threat, and it is absolutely their fucking fault because they started it. Let's remember the reason why Joe Kent came out, the reason why this all started in the first place. Israel started this. Israel poked the bear. Israel has been pushing for this war for fucking 30 years. Benjamin Netanyahu's entire life and his recent death, rip Bibi. I am not convinced that he's alive. It all built up to this war. This is all they've ever wanted. And now they've got it.
What do you guys think? Is Bibi still alive or not anymore?
And they are fucked. Because we've been sort of painting the picture here, right? All the U.S. bases in the region are destroyed. All of the early detection, warning, radar systems, all destroyed. So now missiles are raining in on Israel with no advance warning. There's no sirens going off. There's no bomb shelter warnings. You just live in the shelter or you take your chances. The city is getting absolutely decimated, Tel Aviv specifically, but lots of others are also not looking good. Here, let me see if, let's shrink us down here. All my screens have different resolution. So missiles are just coming in nowadays. Just dropping. I thought I had... Oh, here we are. Bro. This is Israel right now. And they have been heavily censoring what can get out. Heavily censoring. It is so much worse than what we're seeing. So much worse than I think most people can imagine. And Israel is not a big nation, right? It's like the size of New Jersey. There's not a lot there. When we're talking about America and Iran,
is anyone from these areas and can say he's actually speaking the truth or he is not speaking the truth?
This missile capacity, we are thoroughly running out. We are very much running out. We might have a graphic later. I'm not sure of projected stockpiles left. Israel is within probably a couple days of being all out of its, I think it was the Arrow defense system. Maybe a couple weeks for a couple of the other types of missiles that we got. Some of the offensive missiles were like well over 40% through. Iran is not in that situation. Iran has been saving up missiles for decades, basically. Not literally, but they've got underground drone facilities spun up, ready to produce more drones. They have a whole decentralized machine dedicated to this project. And they're fighting a much lighter, more intelligent guerrilla-style war. This is their war. They have no desire or need to stop. And their primary target is directly within striking range. And their shields are down. And so America went to Iran, or rather, Trump said that we went to Iran to offer them a peace deal this last week, right? And Iran's like, no, you fucking didn't. And we don't want one, bitch. Like, talk about humiliation. Our president is lying to the world, pretending that there's peace talks so that he can manipulate the market, make a bunch of billies on the side for his kids, you know, once they're all fucking kicked out and on trial for war crimes and shit. And it's like the kind of lies that can be debunked in like 10 minutes by Iran coming out and saying, no, none of that's ever happened. There were no talks. Iran's not doing talks because Iran is setting terms. Because Iran fully knows that they are well in position to win. They are chilling. Super chilling. Because think about what we can do to Iran. What can we do to Iran? Right? We can bomb them. You know, we can drop bombs all fucking over the place in here. Right? No, that's not what I want to do. Let's go to satellite view. Right? You could drop bombs fucking anywhere you want, dude.
So is this like one of the ideal ways for peace? In the chat, let me know if I'm wrong or if I'm right or way off. If Iran limits uranium enrichment and allows for inspections, that's like one part of the deal. The second part of the deal, U.S. lifts major sanctions, and maybe the third part of the deal, Israel gets verifiable guarantees Iran cannot build a bomb. Would that be like the ideal way for peace within this situation?
You know, you could bomb this brown part. You could bomb this brown part. You could bomb this part or that part. But Iran has a decentralized military. Their military is intentionally decentralized into 31 different military districts so that it will just keep fighting you. It's literally a Hydra with 31 heads and secret underground missile bases and drone bases all across. It is a impenetrable fucking fortress that no one has invaded since the days of Alexander the Great. In the middle, it's a scorching hot fucking desert. And it's got a culture that believes in martyrdom that is galvanized towards their cause right now because we started the war by killing their religious leader and murdering like 150 schoolgirls. So their resolve is going absolutely fucking nowhere. Their military leadership is decentralized. Their military infrastructure is underground. You can just kill as many people as you want. The people that replace them are just going to be more and more hardcore. Because that's how this shit works. That's how fighting in the Middle East works. You just make them more.
Thank you for joining in on the chat, Kevin C3R1W. Iran has so much oil they do not need nuclear at all. So what's the nuclear talk about then? That's thank you for joining in on the chat, by the way.
More and more radicalized. And there's always more of them. There will always be more of them. You're not going to bomb the Iranians out of existence, obviously. And so what do we really have that we can do to them? You could try to destroy their economy. You could try. But let's be real. Iranians are a lot more hardcore than Americans. And if we're going tit for tat on destroying each other's economies, I guarantee you that Iranians are better at living on the cheap in the mountains and all than the fucking Americans are. So you could try to destroy their water, but they don't rely on desalinated water. All the Gulf states do. You could try to destroy their energy. Could work. You know, a viable threat. But everyone else's energy is wide fucking open over here. All these American allies and all the gas and oil that the entire world depends on, wide open. And we are about to watch that happen tonight because Israel just fucking struck a bunch of power plants in Iran to try to drag us deeper into this war that just happened like 6 hours ago. And so Iran is about to retaliate. We'll look at the message on that in a second. So, like, what weapons do we really even have that can harm them?
From what I understand, we have a lot of weapons.
Whereas when you look at what can Iran do to Israel, that is a very different story. Tiny little Israel, which mind fucking you, Israel is already in a really bad place. Politically, ideologically speaking, there's a video that we can't really watch right now or we can't watch on YouTube because it has a bunch of copyright music in it. But we'll probably watch it later or tomorrow on Kick together. It's a very... it's a good video. It's good for the soul because it's an analysis of how Israel's culture is already fracturing. Israel has been under more and more political pressure for a long time now. And a lot of the dissension in Israel comes from the sort of caste system
Bpod said Nick,
that they have between their like more religious Jewish populations that are exempted from serving in the military in the IDF because Israel has mandatory conscription in the IDF. But the religious Jews, you know, the hat and twirl Jews, the ones that like look really Jewish, the Chabad Jews, they're exempted from serving in the military because they study Torah.
Okay, so for more peace possibilities, what do you think, chat? If Iran stops funding proxy attacks like Hezbollah and the militias, Israel stops direct strikes inside Iran, and U.S. reduces military escalation posture. That's kind of like, we won't destroy you if you don't threaten us. I'm thinking about like possibilities for peace. I have no idea.
You know, the same ones that are over here in fucking New Jersey, wherever they are, with 13 kids, living off welfare, studying Torah.
Thank you, buddy.
That homie exposed and then got, you know, eviscerated for exposing those Jews. Well, they're over there in Israel too, doing the exact same fucking thing. And all the rest of the Israelis, a bunch of them semi-religious, a bunch of them atheists, secular, leftist Jews, they're all required to serve in the IDF. And among all these different fractured groups of Jewish and like ethnic Jewish and religious Jewish communities in Israel, making up Israel, there's not really anything that binds them all together except for the Zionist project itself. Because a lot of them aren't actually religiously Jewish. And a lot of them are Jewish coming from all these different backgrounds. Like they're a bunch of fucking settlers from all around the world. So they aren't actually homogenous. They're not unified. They're all very different. And they actually don't get along that well in a lot of instances. There's a lot of fighting. There's a lot of protesting. There's a lot of disagreement. Their political system is all fucking fucked up.
Thanks, Dems Dumb. D1.
But what's bound them all together is genocide.
Good idea.
For lack of a better term. They're all down with genocide, basically. Which
True,
is
second source to be cool.
fucking awkward. And so what they've been riding on together is the Zionist project, that sort of global Judaism ethno-state thing that they're building. It's the fight against Hamas, the fight against terrorism, the danger to the Jewish thing, whatever the fuck that is, when half of them aren't religious Jews and half of them are, and it's like, whatever the fuck that is, okay? That's what's binding them all together. And then Benjamin Netanyahu got kicked out of power. He got unelected. What is it? It's 2026 now. So this was 8 years ago, I think. 9-10 years ago. I don't really remember the chronology here. Excuse me. And when he lost power, he was coming under investigation for corruption. Because it turns out that Benjamin Netanyahu was a corrupt motherfucker that had been abusing his title and his powers to... Oh, cool. It's already muted. To curry favors, to pay to play with Arnon Milchan and with a bunch of the media agencies in... Is there a segment where they...
Oh, you know what's weird? This actual website that I posted on my community side, it shows Ukraine, Lebanon, Syria. Okay, actually, never mind. I could select by regions. Never mind, excuse me.
They actually show segments of the doc in here? I haven't actually seen the interview yet. Oh, maybe they aren't going to show segments of the doc. Shame. We'll just, I guess we'll just peep the thumbnail. Wasn't really intending to lead into this piece right now, but we'll lead into this piece right now.
So according to this map, I don't know how accurate it is or whatever, but close this. Let me see what my frame's like. Okay. So if we zoom in here, we see certain things, and I think these mean something has been An Israeli airstrike targeted the town of Al-Tyri in the Bint Jbeil district, and another targeted the town of Al-Shaida Tyre district. Okay. And then we have this different icon, which means Hezbollah. We targeted a Merkava tank with a drone in the town of Debil, southern Lebanon. Okay. So that's Lebanon. Oh, it changed from my other screen, actually. Let's see. Or was I in the wrong area? No, I was in the wrong area. Okay. 2 airstrikes target the town of Majdal Zun. So according to this map, I guess there's 1 incident. Anything up here? That's kind of above Israel. Or is it? That's the Tyre district. Okay.
So, Bibi gets unelected after having been prime minister for a long fucking time.
Thank you, Matthew Lewis.
And
welcome, buddy.
He had been prime minister before. Like, Bibi's been prime minister for like 25 years, give or take, with a gap or two. Like, he was not prime minister from, I think, 98 or 99 or 2000 until like 2004 or something like that, 2002. I'm very fuzzy on it. He had a little break there where Ehud Barak was the prime minister, and then Bibi got elected again, was prime minister until more recently, like 2016, 2018, 2019 maybe. I should probably pull it up. And then he was coming under investigation for corruption, and shit started to get pretty hot, and he was not down with it. And so he went deeper into the corruption and made a bunch of deals with the far-right religious extremists in order to band together to get him elected again in this most recent run.
Spoiler alert, God wins. True, Teddy Trey, true.
In 2022. So it was 2009 when he resumed prime
Yes, Kevin,
ministership,
it is.
and it was 99 when he left after 96 to 99, and then 09 to 2021. He got unelected in 2021, and that was not good because he was going to go to prison. Him and his wife, Sarah, probably. His drunk-ass wife, Sarah. Drunk, psychotic pig wife. So what Benjamin Netanyahu did, that's the wrong tab. Now it's me watching me. So what Benjamin Netanyahu did is he made a set of deals with the most far-right religious extremist parties, like the ultra-settler psychopaths, the Ben-Gavirs and the Smotriches. These guys that had been on the fringes of Israeli political society for a long time, and no one had ever really taken super seriously. But Israeli society is so fractured. Whoa, dang, Gigi, calm. Gigi is hacking up a loogie over there. Israeli society is so fractured, and their political system is so many different moving parts that Bibi allying with these far-right groups and bringing enough of them together around him was enough to take the government back. They would have never had that opportunity if it weren't for him. He also made all these other promises, like he promised to all the religious, ultra-religious Jews that they wouldn't have to do the conscription thing. You'll get to keep studying Torah. Like, I'll appease everybody, especially all the religious extremist ones. Even though he doesn't actually believe any of that shit, he's not religious. He's none of that.
God is not with the E-Island gang and child extinguishers. You're right, dude. Imperfect, 100%.
And then what that did is that deeply emboldened.
Will David 3501 Restream thinks aggressively cursing makes him correct. Just to let you know what this Restream bot does. So we have like multiple channels, like YouTube, Kick, LinkedIn, and all those things. And so if someone from a different channel says something, Restream bot says that. It says Restream bot, and then it says the person's name. So I'll give you an example. The latest one, it says Restream bot 4225, and it says YouTube at Dems DUMD1. So that's actually from at DEMSDUMD1. And if you guys want to be friends, you can be friends, and we're all friends over here. So it's a nice, amazing community that we're trying to build and trying to find the truth and enjoy and figure out what's actually happening over here. But just to clarify what's happening with the Restream bot, it's an actual person just from a different social media so everyone can communicate together.
The most extreme religious genocidal tendencies latent in Israeli culture, though let's be clear that those tendencies run all throughout Israeli culture, not just in the religious extremists. Unless you are actively speaking up against the genocide at this point, you are 100% complicit. If you're
never mind. Don't listen to anything I said. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I don't know. Didn't mean to dox anyone or out anyone, dude.
Especially if you're over there in Israel. It's like,
Sorry,
I have no problem with Americans just ignoring it and fucking getting on with their life. But if you're Israeli, it's in everyday life. It's everything. It is all around you all the time. It's an apartheid state. And right now, especially relevant because during this these end times, the settlers have been on just disgusting rampages, pogroms. The Jewish settlers in Israel right now, like today, are out in the settlements, out in the West Bank.
True, Brian. True, buddy.
Raping and burning alive and murdering and hunting and terrorizing Palestinians like never before. Because they can sense that they are like animals caught in a trap. They are animals cornered. Although let's not call them animals, okay? Because that does two things. That dehumanizes them, and it takes away their agency as being responsible for their own fucking actions, which they are. And that's how they dehumanize the Palestinians in order to justify what they're doing to them. So let's not do that. Let's remember that these are humans making choices. Humans that choose to serve the fucking devil. And if you are faint of heart, don't look up what's happening in the West Bank right now. Do not look up what the settlers are doing right now. You'll see some fucked up videos. Some super horrendous videos. There was one going around all week of a Palestinian being dragged behind a car by a rope.
Oof.
Allegedly a teenager.
And by the way, just want to make this 100% clear. I'm not laughing at the video and the situations, but I'm laughing at the chat because I was reading the chat and then it said something bad. Yeah. Some horrible things happening, dude. Horrible things. Mr. One Boston has joined the chat. How you doing, buddy? Welcome back. Good to see you again.
Yes. So, all of that to link through to Tucker's piece this week that just came out 7 hours ago, I guess. I was not expecting this. Brilliant move, Tucker. Tucker has a distribution platform, and the BB Files, the documentary, needed a distribution platform because Amazon took them down and they got banned off of everywhere that you could see it. Because they exposed some GD truth about the whole situation.
Bro, that Drewski Erica Kirk video, oh my gosh. I was like, I couldn't even look at that thing, man. I was shown that earlier today and I was like, I'll pull it up if you guys, I'll go through it again, but like, oh my God, dude. And allegedly, I think she cannot sue him because it's not fitting of the defamation because he didn't actually say her name. Which is like a good thing, I guess, because if you can sue somebody over like comedy, goodness gracious, like we got to be able to laugh, right? Come on.
Over in Israel. The whole situation with Bibi that they don't want you to know about. They got leaked all of these tapes of all of Bibi's depositions in relation to his corruption trial. And let's just say it is tremendous. It is extremely spicy. And I will have you know that your boy did report on this 9 months ago. Back when I was hosting for Candace, we did a really good episode that I am extremely proud of.
Ecuador? What is happening in Ecuador? My goodness.
On her channel, all about this documentary. At the time, because I was on her channel, I didn't want to let...
Oh my gosh. W for Skojo Flip 3140. She can forgive him, right?
You know that there are places on archive.org where you can find it for free. But I would also deeply encourage you to support the directors, the creators of this documentary by paying for it through a platform. Like now, TCN. It is being hosted on Tucker's network, and he did an interview just now with one of the producers, I think it is. And holy shit, the footage they have, the story they tell, it's fucking spicy. And it basically weaves together how Benjamin Netanyahu had to take Israel to war because he was going to prison if they didn't. And so he manufactured the conditions by which October 7th could be allowed to happen. And it was...
Can I subscribe to your channel, man? Do you make content? Just to let you guys know, we're going live every day of 2026. So like, subscribe, turn on those notifications so you can hear amazing comments like we just did. From Skojo_flip3149. Thank you for the laugh, buddy.
It's very much allowed to happen intentionally in order to get Israel into a war. Because once Israel was in the war, everyone stopped paying attention to their corrupt fucking president or prime minister. They stopped prosecuting him. They put it all on pause. They even put off elections. And he is now just this wartime dictator, war criminal dictator that should have been in prison years ago. And he's just eking out one more day, one more day, one more day. And he very much sees it as a biblical thing. And he might be fucking dead at this point, to be clear. We're still not entirely clear on him being alive. Okay? His plane has been in Germany for a long time. A lot of AI videos were put out to try to pretend like he was fine and hanging out in cafes and shit.
Yeah, Matthew Lewis. I'll link it right now.
We're not clear on the fate of the Beebs. But where were we? We're all over the place here today. The religious state of Israel, the fracturing of Israel, that's where we're at, is the crumbling nature of Israel. And this YouTube film that we aren't going to watch on YouTube that has the copyright music in it. I am more and more of the opinion these days, especially when it really crystallized watching this one YouTube film I'm talking about. It really like put up all the right pieces together of what we're all seeing. That Israel is a fracturing concept. And all it took was just a little push to remind them all that they don't belong there. This is not your home. You are not from here. You are strangers in this land, murdering civilians to take it. And you don't even know the person to your left and right. You're not like the others. Like, Israel is not a unified people. It's not a unified vision. It's not a thing. It's not real. Israel is not real. And they're starting to realize it. And they're starting to flee. Because even before they were getting bombed to hell, there's this inevitable realization when you start to think about the project that the project always needs more bodies. It always needs more settlers. And the thing about Judaism is Judaism does not recruit. Judaism doesn't, it's not like Christianity. They don't proselytize and try to recruit you. They actually try to keep you out. They try to keep it secret. You're not allowed to read the Talmud. Don't do it. That would be very antiseptic of you to do. And so the Jewish religion is not made for this. This is not what this is not it. They were made to wander on purpose. The land was taken from them on purpose. And this dysfunction in their society, this fracturing of everyone being there for a different reason, for a different slice of the Jewish thing, all pretending like they're a unified people while they're not, that was already coming to a head. And it was coming to a head over the military service issue, over the why do the religious Jews not have to serve in the military and we all do? Why are we all fighting your war for you? Like, that had protesters in the streets. The Bibi Netanyahu corruption to go with it had protesters in the streets. But now this war, Bro, now that they are getting bombed to oblivion, now that Tel Aviv is getting reduced down to rubble, they are fleeing like rats, like the rats that they are. It's all fun and games to steal land, to bomb civilians, to genocide an entire nation of people until someone fights back. And then you grab that second fucking passport that you got and you get the fuck out of there. The only problem is that Iran bombed Tel Aviv's international airport. And now they're all trapped. Mostly. And the realization, the reality is setting in that once you fuck around, you can't undabble in genocide. You can't unethnically cleanse.
All right, so here's a little view of Tel Aviv and the damage from drone's perspective. But it seems like the buildings behind are okay. I think it was like any damage is bad damage to anything, but I'm just saying, like, it doesn't seem like it's demolished. That's from Al Jazeera.
A people. You can't unstart a war. And you can't
Well, son, Teddy Trey. Just people. Everybody. Yeah. A lot of people, unfortunately, are manipulated.
elect your fearless leader, Bibi, who's gotten you into this mess. You can't unshoot Charlie Kirk. You can't uncollapse the trade centers. You can't do any of that. All you can do is move forwards. And what I
try to make the right decision while you move forward, you know, learn from everything and just try to make the correct decisions.
Iran has realized is that going forwards, it has everything it needs to wipe Israel off the map. And Israel has basically nothing they can do about it except dragging America in deeper and deeper and deeper to fight the war for them. Because that's always been how Israel has fought their wars. So, I've rambled far more than I expected to at the start of this show. My voice is already hoarse, if you can't hear. Let's check in with some experts. Because I am not an expert. I am just a dude that does my best to learn, to observe what's going on, to understand reality. And this is my opinion based upon that. But let's check in with the experts that I've been...
All right, so this is some more of the damage in Tel Aviv from Instagram. But it seems like what Ian is saying is like there's a lot more damage. Israel says at least 116 were injured in Arad on March 21st, but Iran says the true figure is higher. Okay, so Iran is saying, how do they know? It's interesting. So Israel is saying less and Iran is saying more. Israel has opened an inquiry into why air defenses failed to intercept the missiles. You never know. You never know. Frequency jammers, man, It's wild, especially with the technology that's happening now. And yeah, you never know. You never know.
Learning from, watching, listening to, let's check in on some of what they've had to say.
This is the best peppermill on the planet, period.
Did not pick up my freaking cookies.
One of the potential.
That's so frustrating. We're just gonna have to live with it. I'm not trying to Claude code my cookies back in right now. I had it set up earlier, so I was auto signed in, so we wouldn't get ads. We'll live with it.
Coincidences is that the USS Tripoli, with its amphibious landing dock USS New Orleans, and the 2,200 Marines will be of the 31st Marine will be on station on Friday when that second deadline ends. There's also 82nd Airborne troops, a brigade, I think, at least in here. There's another, the 11th Marine Expeditionary Unit, steaming in with the USS Boxer. So the question is, what are they going to do? And can you just give us
So, just to clarify, there is more military experience on this YouTube screen right now than there is in the entire Trump White House and cabinet combined. Every single one of them. There's more.
That's a huge statement. Incredibly huge.
More military experience on this single fucking YouTube stream right here.
a little sense for whether it's Carg Island or something else? I personally think that Carg Island is just a deception operation. I don't think anybody's actually going to go there because the difficulty would be too high. I don't know. Maybe they will. But whatever. You're talking maybe 5,000 Marines with the 2 MEUs.
Yeah, Scoja, someone forgot to plug in the dome.
Another few thousand from the 82nd Airborne. What can those organizations, what can that much ground combat power, along with the A-10s and the Apache helicopters, which have been sent over to support whatever they're going to do on the ground, what is feasible militarily for them to do?
Shout out to Mr. One Boston. That's cool, man. I didn't know Colonel Davis is a friend of yours, man. Awesome. Same with McGregor. Awesome, dude. Everyone loves Mr. One Boston. Come on, y'all.
It's important for Americans to understand something. What you do as a soldier, sailor, airman, or Marine after you arrive is much more important than how fast you get there. Right now, the emphasis is on light and fast. Why are we sending a brigade for the 82nd? Well, because we can. You load up 3,000 men. Now, of course, the Army, as always, has said, well, if we're going to send a brigade, we have to have a division headquarters on the ground to manage it. So 3,000 troops need a 2-star general with a 1-star general as deputy and probably 150, 200, maybe more people to plan and conduct operations. This is a sort of standard, World War II nonsense that we go through. And then the Marines. We're going to put Marines there.
Colonel Doug and me are both having sore throats these days.
Because we can float them in, and then we can put them somewhere. Well, the problem is once you put the paratrooper on the ground, once you put the Marine on the ground, the Ranger, whoever it is, what are they going to do? What can they do? Are they going to seize and hold something of great value? What is the seizure about? If they go to an island, can they hold that island? Well, I think we're finding out that islands are extremely vulnerable.
This is the key point that basically all of these experts are about to talk about here. What are they even going to do? What are they going to do? Because
Well said, Teddy Trey. Well said. Very philosophical from you, buddy.
Say you do take Carg Island. Let's say you take Carg Island. Let's say they give it to you. You take little old Carg Island up there. That doesn't open the Straits of Hormuz. Straits of Hormuz still closed. So let's say you take all of this coastline and all of these islands. You take Bandar Abbas. You take all of it. All of this taken. That still doesn't open the Straits of Hormuz. The Straits of Hormuz is within rocket and drone range of the entire nation of Iran. A dude in a cave all the way up here in northern Iran can step out the mouth of that cave, launch a drone, and send that drone all the way to the Strait of Hormuz to sink a tanker. And there's only a couple shipping lanes even open because they already mined the entire southern side. That's not to mention if they wanted to mine the rest of it. So what are you even going to take and hold? Because none of that is going to open the Strait of Hormuz, even if you could take and hold it, which you can't. Because once you take it, how are you going to hold it?
What's the difference?
Oh, they're going to make us watch an ad on every single one, huh?
So if you want to dish the GMOs and
vibe coding is hard, folks. Vibe coding is hard.
You know, it's an operation which just looks fraught with an avalanche of cascading difficulties and with lots of casualties. I mean, another good example is Iwo Jima, and people say, "Oh yeah, I think I."
So this is Rear Admiral Steve Jeremy. He's retired UK Royal Navy and is strategic analyst.
Might have heard Lindsey Graham.
And obviously Lieutenant Colonel Danny Davis. If you don't know about Daniel Davis, watch his fucking content, follow his show. His channel is Daniel Davis Deep Dive. Incredibly on the money. Oh, I was like, why am I not subscribed? It's because I'm not signed in. Incredibly on the money. He's putting out great updates every day, talking to all the experts. He is an expert himself. Some of the best content to stay informed.
Yeah. Well, what Lindsey Graham didn't talk about was the level of casualties in Iwo Jima, which is 26,000 overall, roughly speaking, of which 19,000 were wounded, and the remainder were killed in action. And is the United States ready to take casualty numbers running into the thousands in an operation like this? And I suspect.
Yeah, we currently have allegedly, like, what is it, 13? And that's 13 too many. But if we send 10,000 troops in there to try to take an island, try to take a coastline, are any of them ever coming out?
Hopefully every single one returns home, man. Come on.
I am not convinced that any of them are. Because that's the other thing, is what happens when they take a bunch of hostages? Yeah. What happens when you land them all on Karg, and then it turns out that actually they've got a whole bunch of drones and missiles that can stop all of the other air support from getting back in to support them. You can blow up all the boats that can come in to go and resupply or evacuate them. And actually, you've just trapped them on Karg Island to be bombarded by missiles and drones until they're all dead. You're a fucking sitting duck on this thing. It's just a giant rock with a bunch of silos on it.
Who said in last chat about being a bootlicker? Who wrote that one? If you're still in the chat, let me know, because I need to hear that quote again.
Though there's probably some tunnel infrastructure. This is nightmare fuel for us. Because once you're in, cool. Can you hold it? Because you are directly within striking range of every Iranian and his goddamn uncle that wants to line up out here with a drone or a rocket or a missile. Boats, small boats and craft that want to come out.
I replaced from taking nitric oxide, but I've never.
Oh, my glitch is back from earlier. Oh no, my glitch is back. Please let my other links work. Good.
And most importantly here, once you commit large-scale ground forces, you're in a quagmire. I mean, this would be disastrous. Trump clearly understands that putting ground forces anywhere inside of Iran, whether it's Karg Island, whether it's around the Strait, whether you're talking about putting ground forces inside of Iran to try and capture that enriched uranium that they have is a prescription for big trouble.
Well, thank you so much.
On par with the Nazis' attempt or invasion of Soviet Union in 1941. If we attempt to do that with ground forces, I think we will destroy the American empire because we will suffer a physical loss, not a strategic loss like in Afghanistan or in Vietnam, but a physical loss because we just have so grossly underestimated the military task, how difficult that would be, even if you amassed 400,000 or 500,000 troops to be able to go into that. I think that you would end up losing, and we would lose everything. Meanwhile, while China's sitting there on the sidelines, not losing anything, building up military power, and then the
Bill Bush, thank you for joining in on the chat. Z6G. Douglas McGregor said that it was a waste of time. McGregor said that, and it's just an extinguish trap. Can you please expand? Is that accurate? And which location is he talking about?
relative power between the two is going to continue to escalate in their favor, not just in the region, but now that's going to start to be globally because we have impaled ourselves in a war of choice that only...
Mr. One Boston, is that true? He just tested a new one? Oh, my.
Only loses our military strength. So,
yeah. The link that's broken here is Joe Kent saying a very similar thing. If I were in my enemy's shoes, I would let the U.S. troops land and then subject them to all this stuff so they have to just try to keep reinforcing, and I could just keep picking them off. That's the thing. It does not take a strategic genius to think through the strategy of if you were Iran, how would you win right now? And the answer is fucking easily. The answer, unfortunately, is pretty fucking easily.
Chat, you are wild.
Because we don't have any weapons that can really hurt them in a meaningful way. And we are deeply vulnerable in every way here. I mean, if America were to just get the fuck out of there, we'd be fine. Because they don't have shit that can reach over here. We are on literally the other side of the goddamn world. Trump. Literally, we are over here. America. We have nothing to do with this. But over here on the other side of the world.
Do you guys think that there's multiple reasons this is happening, not just the ones that are kind of shown on the surface?
All of our Gulf allies completely fucked. Reliant on desalinated water for basically all of their drinking water needs. There. Bahrain for sure. UAE. Their oil and gas infrastructure, wide fucking open. Completely fucked. Israel, same story. Desalination, oil and gas infrastructure. Tiny little country getting wiped off the map as we speak. Nowhere to go. And that's not to mention that Iran is now talking about, like, they're threatening that they'll just fucking come take Bahrain. They'll move in. They'll actually invade these Gulf countries because the Gulf countries are actually kind of weak little bitches that have been relying on American protection all along. And we've all just learned that America is a paper tiger and there is no American protection. And the American bases are blown up. And we're moving all of our defenses over to Israel, who's the one we really care about anyways. And we're realizing that all of these guys are kind of fucking on their own. They're kind of fucking on their own. And Bahrain.
All right, so he says America is a paper tiger. What does he actually mean by that? It's an idiom describing the United States as a nation that appears outwardly powerful, intimidating, or threatening, but is actually weak, ineffectual, or unable to withstand challenges. It suggests that U.S. power is largely an illusion, like a tiger made out of paper. Hence, America is a paper tiger that will crumble under pressure. I cannot say I agree with him. I'm just defining what he actually said. And I hope he's wrong, you know. And we are the only country in the world that helps other countries before helping ourselves, you know, with how much we donate our tax dollars to these different countries. But I don't know. That argument just doesn't make sense. I respect him, and I appreciate his research, but some of the things are just, come on, man. Come on. Show some love.
Bahrain, I think, actually, pretty sure it was Bahrain, actually used to be Iran anyways, like 70s or before. So tactically, militarily speaking, we are setting up for a suicide run. I've got a pretty weak ass deployment map here. Ignore the crayon scribbly retarded lines here. We've got the 82nd Airborne. Oh shit, it messed up all my cards too. The 82nd Airborne stationed in Kuwait, ready to fly across, maybe drop on Karg Island, maybe drop in somewhere else. We got a bunch of Special Forces Tier 1 operators getting called over that we're kind of getting leaks about their deployment. I don't know if they're actually in Bahrain. I don't think we know where they are. There is the USS Georgia, a guided missile submarine that's lurking around here somewhere. And then we have all of our we have our MEUs, the USS Tripoli, the USS Boxer, the 11th MEU.
Bro, the only bot I have in this chat is the Restream bot, so everybody from every social network can chat. I do not have any bots in this chat. And if anyone else does, that's their thing, but no, not employed by me.
And we have the USS Abraham Lincoln, which I don't think is still there, actually. And the it's the USS Gerald R. Ford. So we have a couple carriers, a couple MEUs, the 82nd Airborne, all staging to roll in here and get stranded somewhere. But again,
thank you, Manji at the Wit, for lighting up the chat. I think you have to be kind of naive to think that the multiple reasons are valid and aren't just talking points. We had a peace deal that we felt we could have lived with. Then for political reasons, from which perspective are you speaking on? And yeah, to be honest, I am kind of naive to the whole situation, just trying to learn more. And thank you for the chat.
all these amphibious units that have to come in, wherever they're going to go, they're going to have to go through the fucking shooting gallery to get there. And then if you fly in the 82nd Airborne.
Again, laughing at the chat, not laughing at the video. Sorry, guys.
They're on their own unless they get reinforced by the ships going through the shooting gallery or more air support from people flying in. It's pretty dark. It's not looking good. And it's all on behalf of Israel. Where's my other report? My other report get closed? Where's my other report? I must have accidentally closed the other one. All of this while we are just digging ourselves into debt. Genuinely, if you want a conspiracy theory around the war in Iran, follow the money. Because the money is flowing.
I can't even repeat some of that stuff, but that's pretty heavy, y'all.
Oil and gas executives are getting fucking rich. You know, the price of oil is going up. It sucks for us at the pump, but the dudes selling oil and gas right now, oh boy, are they.
Yeah, the price of oil is going up tremendously, and they just obtained so much oil from the Venezuela situation. So it's a little interesting what's happening.
They getting rich. And then also, you know, the Trump family and their insider buddies are getting rich too. Off of insider fucking trading. Let me see if I got this article here.
lot of dry
That would
rubs
make
out there.
Zaxby's giant chicken finger
They're nothing
quesadilla
like
so
the dry
giant.
rubs and
crispy
crispy
finger.
Zaxby's famous.
Sorry. A glitch that we have to vibe code out of this bitch. So the Financial Times did a big report on the insider trading that seems like it happened right before Trump's big post about talks with Iran. Like minutes before. It was over $1 billion position was taken out, I believe.
Well said, Heather. You're accurate.
Notional, okay, exaggeration.
Yeah, JP Jazz base 6720. Please, can we just start there? Homeless veterans on the street, that should be absolutely unacceptable. Unacceptable. What about before you even think about starting another war? Every single veteran who fought for our country has a life that is fulfilling, and they're content. They're happy, and they get the respect that they deserve. Come on, y'all.
Futures contracts with a notional value of $580 million. Like insane volume spike. Obviously someone with foreknowledge taking out this massive position minutes before Trump announces that we're in talks with Iran, which we weren't. Then the market hard reverses. This motherfucker makes billions and billions and billions of dollars and then floats off into the night. Because we've never seen that before, obviously. So, we're going into the weekend. Weekends are wartime. Sagar coined the term weekend warriors, as in we can only fight the war on the weekends when the markets are closed. The price of oil is fucking high, and it's going to get a lot higher. And Richard
Somebody mentioned that earlier about that weekend warriors thing.
Medhurst has done some really cool analysis of how that actually it's possible that this is a big play to concentrate oil dominance in America, because we are a net energy exporter. We are oil rich and gas rich. I'm a little skeptical that there's that much of a plan going on here. I don't think Israel had it that way in their minds, at least. It doesn't matter if you got a lot of oil money if you're getting bombed off the face of the earth. I don't really care to go over the oil price tracking. So far, 1 month in, the war has cost us over $25 billion.
That's outrageous, man. That is outrageous.
In just like front end costs. I don't believe that includes all the destroyed bases, the destroyed multi-billion-dollar radar systems. Doesn't include all the gas we're spending on all the movements of troops and aircraft carriers and planes and all of that. Doesn't include the lost lives. We're spending almost $1 billion per day on munitions. There's an interesting hidden cost, too, that the DoD is one of the world's largest fuel consumers. Every $10 rise in oil per barrel adds $1.3 billion to the Pentagon's annual revenue or annual running expenses. So do the math. All of this is being financed by debt because we don't do war bonds anymore. We don't ask the people if they want to fight a war. We don't collectively agree that we're going to fight a war because it's not a war. It's a military action because Trump is fucking committing treason right now. And so what we're doing is we're financing the whole thing with debt. And what that means is they are stealing from your children with inflation They are taking future money away from you and your nation's prosperity in order to fight their fucking war for Israel today, right now. And all of that is not even taking into account that every day that Hormuz stays closed, the entire world sinks deeper and deeper into an inescapable trap. We're looking at food shortages, energy shortages. I am nowhere near smart enough to predict just how fucked up the economic fallout of all of this is going to be. Europe is going to be deeply, deeply in trouble. Southeast Asia, deeply in trouble from their energy reliance here. A bunch of them are going to have to turn to China for energy, pushing everyone into China's hands because they got to get their energy from someone. China's probably going to take over Taiwan. Who knows what's going to go on with the chips then? Australia is already on a national fuel crisis. They have 36 days of reserves. 500 plus petrol stations have run dry. In Europe, multiple countries have already started to ration fuel. Philippines declared a national emergency. South Korea capped fuel prices, released a bunch of strategic reserves.
So there's pressure within so many countries because of this thing. Not just a few countries. This is even more wild. It just keeps on growing. Like there's unnecessary pressure. Well, who am I to say it's unnecessary? But
India, they had to fucking deploy the police at the petrol pumps amid panic buying. Experts are saying that the current crisis is worse than 1973, 1979, and 2022 shocks all combined. Goldman Sachs is reporting the largest oil supply shock in all of history. Trump's approval is fucking in the tubes. And he can't get out of it.
Is that a UFC McGregor quote right there?
He cannot get out of it because if he tacos.
Wesley P766. I think you might be right here on that one. I don't know for sure.
If he walks away, Iran still controls Hormuz. They set the terms.
Thomas Moore, A333. I heard that's a good idea. Buying gold. Is it still good to buy with the current prices, or is it what would you suggest is like the prime time to buy?
And there's no reason why they would even open it fucking back up for us. He can't walk away, and he can't stay. If he stays, it only gets worse and worse and worse.
Thank you, bro.
And
that's funny.
Nothing gets achieved. It is a no-win situation. It's lose, lose, lose. The only silver lining is that Israel is on the losing team, and Israel is very much who's going to lose the hardest, and Israel is very much done after this. I don't think there's a world where Israel makes it. And now let's drop into some supplemental sources here to kind of tie the whole room together. Chat, what do you think? Sound off, chat. Do you think Israel is going to be annihilated? Do you think that in 10 years from now, do you think that Israel will be no more? Yes or no? Chat, do you think that in 10 years, Israel will not be a country? Yes or no? And obviously, I'm not asking you if you wish that would be the case. That's a very different question. Duh. I actually genuinely think that in 10 years, Israel will not be a country. You know, it's not so hard because they're not a fucking real country right now. But I genuinely don't think Israel is going to survive this. I know right now it seems like, how could they ever fall? How could the world ever change? How could anything ever change? I know it seems that way right now. But I just do not see... I don't see a way out of this. And Israel is in the trifecta right now. Epstein's exposed. The whole world's woken up. Everyone's noticing. There's no type of unpopular like Israel unpopular. The entire world fucking hates them. That is like next level. Okay,
that's a pretty huge statement. That's a big statement, man. You know, I'm not going to agree or disagree with him, but that's like a broad generalization.
Beyond that, there's internal strife. All of Israel's fighting each other. They're all demoralized. They were already protesting in the streets against their government. Then that government that they were protesting, when it got them in this quagmire, they're getting bombed. Everything's fucked. Right? So internally, they're all falling apart. And then externally, they're getting bombed. They're getting leveled. And everyone's fleeing. Everyone's grabbing those dual use passports, getting the fuck out of Dodge. The emperor has been shown to be wearing no clothes. And Big Daddy America is running out of rockets. They're running out of interceptors. They're running out of patience and time and money. And dumb goy willing to go fight for the Jews. And so the Jewish project is very much about to be honest.
Mr. One Boston, that you might be accurate right there, man. That's very interesting.
Its own in a foreign land, surrounded by all of the offspring of the people that they have murdered for generations. And there's
the name of those operations, bro.
It's a very serious military power in Iran.
Oh my gosh. Wake up and you're like, you know what? I want to start a hardware store.
That is not fucking around. Oh, I just noticed that our chat is a little disorganized ever since I put on changed the border there. So, just today, right about noon, the foreign minister of Iran, Arachi, said Israel has hit two of Iran's largest steel factories, a power plant and civilian nuclear sites, among other infrastructure. Israel claims it acted in coordination with the U.S., despite the fact that Trump promised Iran that we wouldn't strike any of their energy infrastructure for 5 days because he kept on walking back his threat that he couldn't keep because he realized it was a dumb fucking idea. So he started making up these things about talks that wasn't real. So once again, Trump has been wavering, and then Israel goes and fucking crosses a red line to drag us further in. Joe Kent has been proven right like 4 to 5 times just in the week since he came out and said it all. And again today, proven right. The attack contradicts POTUS' extended deadline for diplomacy. Iran will exact heavy prices for Israeli crimes. Plenty of reporting about the nuclear reactor attack.
That's so wild. What?
Plenty of
Israel deliberately attacked a nuclear reactor. Oh, the heavy water
reporting
plant.
About the nuclear reactor attack.
Israel probably, or the U.S. has crossed another line by attacking a nuclear facility. I can already hear the howls of outrage if when Iran hits Dimona in a tit-for-tat response.
More reporting about it, some photos. Yeah. Yes, please, Iran, hit Dimona. Fucking destroy Dimona. Please take out Israel's nuclear capacity yesterday. But we gotta watch we gotta watch this Lego movie. I think that it has music we aren't gonna listen to. Yeah, we're gonna turn off the music and we're just gonna watch it. This is Iranian propaganda, okay? So don't be fooled. This is Iranian propaganda. They're putting out Lego movie shit. It's very Western. They very obviously understand what they're dealing with here. And their whole shtick is that they are fighting against the Epstein Empire. And they're not wrong. They're not wrong. Because the whole war is on behalf of Israel, Epstein's empire, using the blackmail and the purchasing of American politicians and American government apparatus to just cuck us for Israel. And it's like Iran's not retarded. They know they're not fighting American civilians. Just like if you're not retarded, you realize that we're not fighting Iranian civilians. Unfortunately, a lot of people are retarded and they actually believe the propaganda that like all the regular people in a country could be evil. Like when it comes to Israel, like I'm more inclined to believe that because the fucking regular people in the country are participating in the genocide. But no, the average Iranian person is not participating in a genocide. The average Iranian person is not a terrorist. Just like the average American person doesn't give a shit.
Well said, well said.
So they have all these memes baked into their fucking video, kind of trolling the American government of like how they're hitting our unhittable fucking planes and how they're blowing up our boats and how they're ready to party. They keep on saying, please deploy troops. Please put troops on the ground. We are ready for troops on the ground. And honestly, it makes sense. Iran is going to fucking, like, there is no greater gift that you could give to Iran than boots on the ground. And they close it by just trolling Trump this fucking hard. So Iran is clearly not afraid of the whole situation. They're out here baking up memes. I think I missed the part where they make the Epstein joke. In memory of the victims of Epstein Island. Could we please get some of that fucking energy in our government? Our government is fucking over in Israel signing bombs that are going to be dropped on children, doing nothing about the victims of Epstein Island. Half of our government was probably on Epstein Island. So if we could get a little more of this energy, that would be great. Because it shouldn't fall on fucking Iran to deal with the Epstein problem out here. It shouldn't fall on Iran to deal with the nation that infiltrated, blackmailed, and subverted our country. That should be our job. And we should be the ones dealing with it. Here's reports coming back of the tanks getting blown up. The reports of over 100 Merkava tanks being destroyed in 15 days in their invasion of southern Lebanon.
A $1,000 anti-tank missile against a $6 million armored behemoth The real question is which side's strategy and resources will ultimately prove more decisive. Hezbollah fighters destroyed at least 21 Israeli Merkava battle tanks within just 24 hours on March 25th.
And this is the thing about the American military, and by extension the Israeli military, because we're the ones that pay for their entire fucking military because it's all our shit. This war has exposed, and I've mentioned this before, this war has exposed the result of letting a military-industrial complex grow up around war fighting. And to let your nation's military economy be driven by profit instead of by purpose or pragmatism. When you are building a military with purpose and pragmatism for the purpose of winning a war, you do so in the most efficient, most economic, most clever, creative way possible. You build things that are as cheap and efficient and replicable and mass manufacturable as possible, that are easy to make a ton of for very little, that are extremely effective on the actual battlefield. When you're actually trying to win a fight, you do things to win the fight. Duh. But it's a very dangerous thing to start producing weapons for profit, because what makes the most money for the lords of war is not what is going to win the fight. They don't give a fuck what wins the fight. They just want to sell you more of whatever it is you're buying. And they would love it if you were buying the most expensive fucking thing in the store. Right? And so when you let your military-industrial complex run away with a blank check for like 70 years, you wind up with a enormous, expensive, just fucking toy factory of all of the most expensive, like, badass fucking tools that don't actually work. Like, they work, like, yeah, the tanks roll, the planes fly, the missiles shoot, the AI surveils everybody, but they don't actually work. Right?
How do they not work?
Because when the $1 billion radar system can get destroyed by a $10,000 drone like that,
okay.
When the multi-billion-dollar aircraft carrier can have a laundry fire, when the $60 million tank gets taken out by a single boom stick, costs a couple thousand, when you have no response to just first-person view drones being flown by some kid with a little bomb strapped to it, when the enemy's weapons cost 100 times less than yours, can be manufactured 100 times faster than yours, and can be deployed by anyone from anywhere, you're fucked. Your entire military is built on a lie. It's built on greed. And yeah, it's scary, and it's so impressive. And yeah, we can shoot some really big rockets for a time. Yeah, we got some big bombs to drop.
Thank you, C-Man.
They're very impressive looking planes. But actually, when it actually comes down to fighting a war with a country like Iran, the game is very quickly exposed. And it's happening in Israel with Israel's fight against Hezbollah. And it's already happened in the Gulf states with America fighting against Iran. So yeah, everyone is rearranging their perspective on the global world order. Right.
Thomas Moore, are you talking about that air traffic controller who misguided that fire truck into the head of the airplane, unfortunately, and 2 souls were lost, 2 pilots. May their souls rest in peace, unfortunately. But everyone else on board survived.
right now. Everyone that's paying any attention. The New York Times themselves has now admitted in their reporting as well that, quote, many of the 13 military bases in the region used by American troops are all but uninhabitable, with ones in Kuwait, which is next door to Iran, suffering perhaps the most damage. It's all slowly coming out just how obliterated the U.S. military bases are. And it's not being censored and hush-hushed.
100% understaffed. They need to fix those problems. Those are huge problems they need to fix for sure.
Because they're actually doing fine. It's being censored and not really talked about because it's really bad. Because we're never going back to them. And that's kind of hard to even wrap your head around. That's kind of hard to imagine what that means. So here's Ryan Grimm from Dropsite and Breaking Points reporting that sources tell me that naval special warfare teams were also given deployment orders yesterday, as well as a bunch of tier 1 operators, special forces guys, Green Berets, Ground Branch, Delta, SEALs. SEALs might not be tier 1. I don't know. Tier 1 is the bad boys. I trust Ryan's sourcing. I don't think he's making it up. All of this signals that there's a very complex, powerful military operation on the way. Hegseth and the Pentagon are signaling it directly. Beating their chests. Yeah, it's wartime. Nothing Pete Hegseth loves more than bombing terrorists.
Get those gains.
And drinking beers. A final blow is how they're phrasing it. A final blow. Right? First it was quick strikes, in and out, one weekend. It's all over. They're going to overthrow their own government. No problem. Boots on the ground is crazy. There's never going to be boots on the ground. How many fucking Zio shills called people like me crazy lunatics, conspiracy theorists, panicans for saying that this path leads to American boots on the ground. And then when the 12-day war ended, they were all like, ha ha, you should never be trusted again. You were wrong. It's like, no, bitch. We were early, and we all knew this was coming. It's just a little bit of boots on the ground, just a little bit of American blood, just like a few thousand American kids dead. For now. Except the problem is we have a history of once we've lost a little, feeling like we have to lose a lot. Because obviously America, the American government, the American empire is an immature toddler on a bender. This is footage recently released of a strike over Iraq. All of Iran's propaganda comes out with the same like fucking vibes. But propaganda or no, it's just straight up information. This is FPV drone footage of them bringing the FPV drone war, like what's happening in Russia and Ukraine, to the battlefield in Iraq.
Looks like analog footage.
Where they first target the radar system, and then they go and hit a Black Hawk.
Oh, it's windy over there
on camera. I don't really want to. I don't want to show the whole thing. You can see a little drone fly into the radar system, and then this drone goes and flies, and goes and finds itself a Black Hawk, and goes and booms it. FPV drone, very cheap thing. You can make it in your garage.
Yep.
And I just wanted to remind us all that the protests, the propaganda line that fucking Iran killed a bunch of its own citizens, has been a lie from the start. It was always a lie. We all knew it was a lie. Mossad was trying to overthrow the government. Mossad was arming protesters, infiltrating with agents, killing Iranians, starting violence, starting chaos, as Mossad does. They're admitting it in the New York Times, like we don't all notice what this fucking means. No, it's not going to spur rebellion. That's not how this works. The regime is not changing. Sorry. The regime is very much here for the long haul, ready to fight, and they're not going anywhere. So, that is the situation with the war, with the world.
Chuck Sabo, thank you. Should read into what's going on now. Stay tuned. 2 amphibious marine ships on their way to take over 3 islands in the Strait, taking away Iran's ability to threaten ships and ship oil. Very interesting. Do you have a link to that one?
With the future of everything, we are locked in, bound at the hip.
I can't read that, Chuck.
To our fucking drunk, meth head, psychotic sibling is the wrong word.
Mr. One Boston, I hope you are wrong. Respectfully, buddy. Respectfully.
It's like when you banged that one hot girl because she was just really hot and she was kind of crazy and you were like, just in and out. It's just like,
it's not worth it.
It's going to be fine. It's going to be fun. Just this weekend, just this one time. And then she just will never fucking leave you alone. And she's at your house and she's fucking she's just like, and she just clings on like a fucking vermin. And then it turns out that she's got a kid and she's got a fucking meth addiction. And she actually like is abusive and fucking like torturing like rabbits and shit. And it's like, holy shit, bro. You have gotten yourself into some shit. That's Israel. And now we are going to war with it. Someone in the chat says my first marriage. Bummer, dude. Don't chat. Don't ask that one to marry you. Don't do it.
Not worth it.
Ask the really 100%. Sweet girl that's like kind of boring to marry you.
Yeah, get a good woman by your side. 100%.
Don't ask the crazy one to marry you. Thinking of more jokes. Enough of the jokes. Israel. Another joke. Fucking Israel. The end of Israel. We are locked into their war. There's seemingly nothing that can extricate us. Nothing that can break us free. We are about to go.
Bill Desmet, 3929. Just want to make sure you know Trump loves you too, man.
Go into this and learn the hard way. There very well might be an Israeli false flag in the future here. They very well might attack the U.S. homeland to try to drag us in deeper. China very well might feel emboldened and take Taiwan and maybe some more in the South China Sea. And there's damn well nothing we can do about it. Russia's going to take Ukraine. There's really not going to be much we can do about that. I don't see us ever going back to the Middle East, at least to the...
This war works 60% of the time every time. Oh my God, dude. Dropping W's, man.
The bases as they are now.
And just to let y'all know, we're going live every day at 2026. Make sure you like, subscribe, and turn on notifications because B-Pod Sednik is in the chat. And if you need a laugh, he's always... he's lighting it up tonight, so...
I don't see...
Sorry, he or she, but, you know.
Anything but a very bloody, long, drawn-out defeat here. And ultimately, when you look at the actual military truth of running out of rockets and defensive missiles, the radar systems are all destroyed. The bases are all destroyed. Israel's vulnerable. They're getting hit every night. We're getting ready to go in there, boots on the ground.
Radar systems all destroyed? Hold on. Radar systems destroyed where?
When you look at that reality and you play it forwards a week, 2 weeks, 1 month, 3 months, at what point do we extricate? Because setting aside the like pipe dream that we are going to take all of our
Okay, so as of late March 2026, Iranian and U.S. allied radar systems have been severely damaged in an escalating conflict. Iran has targeted American radar installations across the Middle East, including Jordan, Saudi Arabia, and Qatar, while satellite imagery confirmed damage to Iranian radar stations following Israeli strikes.
Iran by force, which we're obviously not. Anything short of taking over the entire physical country of Iran and subduing the entire population at once. Anything short of that, and they are still bombing Israel into oblivion. And so at what point do we fucking leave and say, bye, Israel, you're on your own? Because if we can't do that, we will literally just be sending an endless pipeline of dead Americans into the meat grinder for an unwinnable achievement that will still wind up with Israel destroyed at the end of it, just with thousands more dead Americans to go with it. Billions, maybe trillions more American debt to tack onto it. And the outcome is going to be Israel destroyed either way. When ultimately, Israel is the problem from the start. And it's going to be wild to watch because really, like, the solution is to invade Israel right now and to take all their weapons, take all their nukes, take all their communication technologies, bomb their nuclear facility right now, cut them off, and do a regime change in Israel. It'd be easy. We could do it this weekend. Hell, if Trump was playing 42D chess, that would be the military operation he's getting ready for right now. Because that would actually end the war right away. That would end the war tomorrow. That would be, the whole world would applaud us. We would suddenly be on top of the world. Trump would be the most popular president in history. Everyone would love America again. Literally. Like, that is actually the solution. I know it's unpopular to say. It's not. Regime changing is.
All right, so just to switch it up a little bit, how does this end? The de-escalation timeline. First, there has to be a ceasefire zone, right? Then limited agreements. They have to agree on certain things, and then a full treaty. So that's hopefully like what happens at the very end, you know, when there's peace. And so if we think about it, like, how can we reverse engineer that? You know, like, how can we get to that ceasefire zone, to the limited agreements, and a full treaty?
Israel is the obvious move right now. Because anything short of regime changing Israel, and it's just an endless meat grinder of dead bodies for the exact same outcome later. A much bloodier version of the outcome, actually.
Said Nick dropping W's, bro. Probably. That's what's going to happen.
Israel's only drug us into this thing because it's being led by a fanatical psychopath that's going to prison the moment the war is over. And they're all just playing their power games with all of our lives, with the entire global economy. Thousands of people, maybe even tens, hundreds of thousands of people around the world are going to die because of the food and economic and energy shortages that this is causing. They're literally killing thousands and thousands, untold numbers of people just so that we can go on pretending that Israel's not the problem here. But Israel is the problem here. They've always been the problem here.
All right, so there's like, I think from what I understand, a bunch of mistrust happening here. So Iran doesn't trust U.S. because like the past regime and change history and all that stuff. U.S. and Israel don't necessarily trust Iran because of nuclear and the proxies. How? Yeah, and you know the leaders will lose power if they're looking weak, right? So what is like their definition of victory? For Iran, is that just like survival? For Israel, is that the elimination of threat? For U.S., is that control and stability? You know, those are all, they don't necessarily align. So tough one.
They're committing a genocide in Gaza. They're literally doing pogroms in the West Bank right now. Just wantonly hunting, murdering, raping, burning alive random people because they look different than them. Letting out all of their pent-up anxiety over their failed genocidal project. They're trying to expand their borders to the north into Lebanon, flimsily. Egypt's lining up, threatening to get into the war and fight back against them. They're getting flattened by Iranian missiles every night. There is no other outcome other than the end of Israel. And ending Israel's tantrum is the only way to stop this. And we have more than enough reason right now to go the fuck in there and regime change that shit. And honestly, that might be the only way that Israel actually survives this. The only way that Israel actually comes out of this as still a country might be by regime changing them right now and getting someone sane in charge to try to fix this. Obviously, that's not going to happen. But hey, I tried. Because if this goes on, as this does go on, it's going to get worse for everyone involved, for the entire world. And the outcome will be the same.
Oh my God.
Unless we start talking about nukes.
You guys are just gonna get me in trouble. You guys are too hilarious. Yeah, so we're streaming every single day of 2026. Like, subscribe, turn on those notifications, and yeah, this is absolutely entertaining. Thank you guys. I was just thinking, like, earlier in the day, I have work and all that type of stuff, and just the joy I get from you guys is just unreal. And girls and ladies out here, it's just unreal. Thank you guys so much, man. You guys are so much fun.
And then shit gets real dark real fast. So, what about the UN? Oh boy, what a comment. What a cute comment. That one's on YouTube. Didn't show up on the screen. What about the UN? What about them? What about the Geneva Conventions? You know? What about international law? So that is the state of the war, the state of the world, the state of the Epstein class, the Epstein operation. We are all dropping into this wave together. It's a lot to take in. It's a lot to watch. It's a lot to learn about. It's a lot of propaganda to decode. And I'm doing my best to keep up with it, keep up on it, keep you updated.
Mr. One Boston, tactical shift. Iran used cluster munitions in this barrage, scattering smaller bomblets across central Israel to bypass standard interception. New front, the first successful. Oh my gosh. Yeah, that's a scary one.
I've been
there,
very
man.
sick this week.
What happened there? Iran has increasingly used cluster munitions in its recent missile barrages against Israel. Reports confirm that Iranian ballistic missiles carrying cluster warheads have struck central Israel, including around Tel Aviv, Beersheba, Petah Tikva, causing civilian casualties and structural damage. All right, so this is how it works, how the cluster bomb works. Let's see. Canister loaded with bomblets is released from an aircraft or launched by artillery. The canister opens in midair, releasing hundreds of bomblets. Oh, what? The payload of bomblets spread out. By the time they reach the ground, they can spread. So they're just random. And so these probably don't have electronics on them. They're all probably analog. And this obviously, this bigger canister is probably electronic with, you know, GPS and location and all those types of things with, you know, some type of remote operation or pre-programmed operation. And okay, that's wild, man. Intercepting cluster munitions is fundamentally more difficult than stopping unitary missiles due to several technical shifts in the engagement profile. Tal Imbar, a missile expert who consults for Israeli defense companies, to be effective, an interceptor must strike the carrier vehicle before dispersal. Cluster bombs are designed to release dozens of smaller bombs called submunitions over a wide area. Smaller munitions do not always explode immediately, posing a future risk to civilians. Oh yeah, they're just walking up the street or taking a bicycle ride, hit one of those things, their life changes forever. Goodness gracious. When cluster munitions are suspected, military teams sweep wide areas and coordinated searches before police bomb disposal units move in to neutralize unexploded bomblets. To limit the damage, weapons experts say cluster munitions must be intercepted as far from their target as possible, ideally outside the atmosphere. Once the submunitions are released, mid-air interception becomes even with the most sophisticated missile defense systems. So they're dropping it from way up, way up. They're not following FAA rules at all, man. Oh my goodness. Cluster munitions are inherently indiscriminate, and their use yeah, it's like a rock. Like, how are you gonna find a rock flying through the air? You're not gonna find it, you know. Like, man, maybe they can find some like metal with some type of radar, but by the time they find it, it's a little too late. It doesn't have a flame. Yeah, okay. It's weird, dude. The chat is so funny, and then I see this, and it's like sadness. It's like I'm right in the middle of this contrasting situations, man. It's like complete sadness and then just hilariousness. Oh my god. Yeah, that's pretty bad, man. That's extremely bad, actually. Is that like the inside of the okay, inside one of those missiles that they drop off.
We got over 1,000 hours of tapes. These were interviews with Netanyahu by the police. Netanyahu himself went to court in his
Operation OnlyFans. Did you hear that Elon Musk is gonna buy OnlyFans and then just discontinue it, like close it? That's wild. I heard the OnlyFans dude either got extinguished or is no longer around. Did you guys hear about that?
Israel to try to stop the premiere of the film at Toronto. He was utterly unsuccessful. But I should note that the American media played a kind of unseemly role in the sense that we went to NBC first, and we were going to do a rather big piece in advance of the premiere, and then we were told at the last minute that, oh, NBC has decided we're not going to do the story because it would probably upset Netanyahu, and that would limit our access to the prime minister.
They said that?
Yes. We got over 1,000.
That's so wild, man. Yeah. Never know, probably, man. Unfortunately.
Netanyahu was all the time helping Hamas to survive.
This is so wild, man, how everything is so intertwined.
He arranged for Hamas to receive $35 million every month from Qatar.
$35 million.
Suitcases of money was given to Hamas under the request of Benjamin Netanyahu.
Now, what's the benefit there? Honestly, like I'm still trying to understand this one. Like, what is the actual benefit here? What does he gain from this?
Personally, and because the Qatarians knew him from the beginning, they were asking him to send them his requests in writing.
Send the request in writing. Don't play around. Send it to me in writing. I want to know exactly what's happening.
Because they knew that he's going to lie in the future.
He allowed more than $1 billion to be transferred to the hands of the Hamas
because he believed that he can control the level of hatred. Your strategy.
So there's a lot of control happening here. Okay. But control the level of hatred. Man. Yeah, which I doubt he even wrote.
Was sustain the extremists, weaken the moderate,
What?
Our strategy was sustain the extremists.
Sustain the extremists.
Weaken the moderate.
Weaken the moderates. All right, so make people like just aggressive and all those types of things. What about making people level-minded and thoughtful to try to make the correct decisions with their lives and not get extremely emotional?
This exploded in our faces in the most brutal way on October 7th.
Netanyahu was all the time.
Dude, what a title, dude. Rage baiting title. You guys can't see it, probably. Let me see. Let me see if you guys can see it. Let me just change this frame a little bit and show you this title. Can you see the title like right under the chat? Operation Butt Plug. Oh my God, dude. Yeah. Whenever you got to close something up, you got to put something there.
Well, you probably heard a lot about the Prime Minister of Israel.
I can't read you guys' comments. You guys are going to get me in trouble.
Benjamin Netanyahu, BB, on this show and elsewhere. He's the guy who's always at the White House working to suck the United States into some war of conquest on behalf of his country. But what you may not know is that the charges against Netanyahu are real. Corruption charges. They tell you a lot about him. What exactly do you know about this man who's a...
Are you the one giving all the operation names?
apparently in charge of the United States? Well, we are now streaming the BB Files. It's a documentary that pulls back the curtain on Benjamin Netanyahu. This film traces the rise of the longest-serving...
Maury Ben M. Not happening, brother. Not happening. Thank you for the encouragement, though.
Prime Minister in the history of Israel, and the corruption cases surrounding him. Hear from former staff and Israeli
yeah. I can't even probably say that operation, bro.
Insiders describing what Benjamin Netanyahu is really like, and see leaked interrogation footage from his corruption investigations. Video that you were not meant to see, and that they definitely don't want you to see.
Yeah, there's some wild footage of this guy, Double Letter. Man, there's some wild footage about what was said.
The BB Files, it offers a rare look inside Israel's power structure and the man whose decisions have...
That'd be wild just to see like a drawing of like the power structure. Be like, oh, this, yeah, man, that would be so wild. To like see the actual truth of the drawing though, you know, like, and with the timeline thing. Almost like with you know, those like clear pieces of paper that you can like draw a marker on, and then like, you know, day 1, day 2, day 3. That'd be really cool.
Once again,
I guess like frames in a video.
Drawn our country into another war, a big war. You can stream it now only at tuckercarlson.com.
Yeah, man, wild. The cowboy of cowboys.
The folly of trying a headlong assault into the Straits of Hormuz. This exact scenario was gamed out at a very, very large level. It was a 14-day war game that legendary Marine Corps General Van Riper ended on day 1, fighting as the Iranians came after the American force stepping into the strait and annihilated it, causing, I think, 20,000 simulated casualties in one day. The services were so upset by this that they reset the war game, limited the capabilities that the Iranians could use.
They rigged their own war game?
Oh, yeah.
That's like...
What?
Rigging an MRI.
Hold on. I was thinking he was going to go the opposite way. So I come from a background of soccer. I played soccer all the time. And there's a video game we used to play. It's called FIFA. And so you get to choose a team. And one way to get better, if you don't have access to the best team, is to pick a team much worse than the team you actually play with. So they're much slower. They don't shoot as well, strike a soccer ball. They don't mark as well. They don't have great defense. The goalkeeper's not as good. So they're all around not as good. But if you play with a team that's much worse, what happens to you? Your mentality gets so much better. So when you do play with a team that's a little bit better, you're just leaps and bounds beyond. So actually, if this is accurate, this is like the exact opposite what the United States wants to do. What they want to do is they want to perform with less resources to see exactly what they have. I shouldn't even talk about this.
Why would you do that? We're giving you a lung x-ray, but we're scrubbing out the spots.
It was designed to produce a result that people wanted to see within...
Maury Binham. Thank you, broski. All right. Good to know.
DOD, the folly of trying.
Oh, man. Some of this stuff, honestly, y'all. Some of this stuff, I'm just... I should just stick to football. I should not even watch this stuff, right? I should just...
My big fear is that the Iranians understand how their systems work against our equipment. And there's evidence all over these last couple of
Operation Swag Rattler
weeks that is the case. And if we commit ground troops without the appropriate countermeasures to defend them against suicide drones, larger drones, ballistic missile systems, we could be positioning ourselves for a lot of bloodshed unnecessarily.
And you're telling me that none of those guys who are preparing to do this, assuming it happens, has any idea why we're doing this? Just as you had no real idea in Iraq why you were risking your life? Like, no commanding officer sat you down and said, just so you know, here's why we're here. Here's how we'll know when we've won. Here's when...
Do they say those types of things in Mr. One Boston? Can you comment on that, or you can't really comment on this? Do they actually say exactly what's going on, or do they kind of keep you at bay and you're like, do your job, don't ask questions, one of those types of things?
We can leave?
Nah, that never happened in Iraq. My big fear is that the
As wars get tougher, say if you commit ground troops and find yourself stuck in a place and can't get out, it's happened many, many times. As leaders become less popular and people become more enraged and discouraged and sad and distracted.
Bro, no one's going to read that one, bro.
Governments can assume powers unimaginable in peacetime. And it may be starting to happen. Speaking for myself, I've been threatened with more FBI investigations in the last month than during the entire Biden administration. So maybe that's an indicator of something. 2 more than during the entire Biden administration, which I criticized every single day for its duration. So there's that. As wars...
Oh, man. I guess it's almost not even revolving around like sides. It's almost revolving around people and their actual decisions, right?
I did not know there had been 5 attempts to get rid of the Dome of the Rock and Al-Aqsa. These were plots to blow them up?
Yep.
What happened to the perpetrators?
A group of settlers were caught, sentenced, sent to jail, and got a political deal a couple of months or 2 years later. Few of them, if not many of them, became prominent Israeli figures. One of the most important newspaper editor in Israel, Makor Rishon, advisors to ministers, members of Knesset, you name it. The support in the public is very small. The dedication of the few is very intensive.
I did not.
Man, that is so wild. All right, y'all. So we're going live every single day of 2026. Make sure you like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you know where to come back and to find all the goodness. And I love you. The Lord loves you. Let's pray for peace. Let's pray for a good life and try to do what's best for you, your family, your friends, your community, and the good people around you so that good things can happen, and try to focus on yourself and your family and just make the right decisions. And one thing to try to think about is, even though there's a lot of stress and pressure with these situations, diamonds are formed under pressure, so you don't have too much to worry about. And you can worry about like the wrong color paint on a inside of a room, you know, like, so just try to do your best and make the best. And yeah, God bless you, Hellrider 716. All right, y'all, and until next time, make sure you like, subscribe, turn on notifications, and yeah, we're gonna keep this going. Let's do it, y'all. All right, take care.